Okay, so we're towards the end of the introduction, right? So the last thing, just to remind ourselves, the last thing we said was that, so the pasuk has 5 things, right? That Hashem shoel meimach, that Hashem asks or demands from us, right? 5 things. And what are the 5 things? The 5 things: Yiras Hashem, right? Yiras Hashem, walking in His ways. Ahavas Hashem, purity of heart, I believe. Right? Purity or completeness of heart. And Shmiras HaMitzvahs, and observance of commandments, right? So basically, Yiras Hashem, walking His ways, which means fixing your midas, right? Ahavas Hashem, loving Him. And again, he listed a whole bunch of components in each individual thing. Perfecting your heart. Again, we're not sure exactly what that means. And and keeping up commandments. Okay, fine. Now he's saying, so let's just start from there again. V'hinei kol eila klolim tzrichim perish gadol. Right, in each of these 5 sections, really need a long explanation. Umatzasi l'chachamenu zal, and I found by our sages shekol hachalokim ha'ela, that they included these 5 elements of the service of Hashem, b'seder b'chiluk acher, in an organization and a division that is different, yoser prati, which is a little more detailed, u'mesudar lefiha hadraga hamitztereches behem liknas tzom al-nochen, and it's organized in such a way that it is a hierarchy, there's a progression that is necessary in order to acquire them properly, right? So you're not chasing after everything at once. It's this leads to this leads to that leads to that. So there's a step-by-step process. So good, so step-by-step process is important. And this is what the Brisa says. It's brought in 3 places in Shas. And one of them is in the Avodah Zarah. So from here, whatever the statement over there is, Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair learns out Torah meviyo l'dei zehirus. Torah brings to zehirus. So I double checked. So Torah is feminine.
Okay, that's right.
So Torah meviyo l'dei zehirus, and zehirus, which means cleanliness. Cleanliness or whatever, right? Is also feminine. So all of these midos,
and they're feminine.
And they're feminine.
Okay.
And so that's why it's mevia. So it fits well, just in basic pshat. Okay. So Torah mevia, Torah brings to zehirus, right? So Torah is the first step, brings to zehirus. Zehirus is the second step. Zehirus brings to zrizus. Zrizus mevia l'dei nikiyas. Right, Jesus brings to the Nikiyas. Oh gosh, Nikiyas, cleanliness, brings to Prishus. Prishus brings to Tahara. Tahara brings to Chasidus, saintliness. Chasidus maybe lidei anova. Chasidus brings to humility, right? So it comes out that humility is higher level than Chasidus, than saintliness. Anova mevia lidei yiras chet. Anova brings to Yiras Chet, to fear of sin. Right, so we have to see what that is. Yiras Chet mevi l'dei Kedusha. Kedusha mevi l'dei Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh mevi l'dei Tchias HaMesim.
So before you get to Tchias HaMesim, all these things have to take place?
Right. Okay.
And the Ruach HaKodesh.
Right. So, and there's a machlokas over there. If maybe Anova is greater than Chasidus, or Chasidus is greater than Anova, maybe so Rabbi Yehuda changes the order, perhaps. Okay, let's keep going. V'hine al pi habraisa zois.
Okay, it's normal.
V'hine al pi habraisa hazois. Now, according to this brisa, hiskamti lechaber chiburi zeh. I decided to organize this sefer. L'lamed la'atzmi, to teach myself, u'lahazkir la'acherim, and to remind others, right? Tanai ha'avoda hashleim al madregoisehem, the conditions for a perfect service of Hashem in all their different levels. Ve'avar b'chol echad mehem minyonav v'chalokav oiprotav, and in each one I will explain, right, elucidate in Yonov its ideas, v'chalokov, and its divisions, or protov, or its details. Right? What's the difference again? Just if you remember from Derech Hashem, what's the difference in chalokov and protov? Right? So Chalokov, I think, is so you have a concept, you can divide it into sections, right? Subdivisions, and Pratav are just details of the object. They're not necessarily. It's not necessarily talking about hierarchical structure. Okay, so he's going to talk about inyan of the ideas and then subdivisions and some details. Haderech liknois oisoy, and I'm going to talk about the ways to acquire something, right? Umahem mafsidov, and what are the challenges from acquiring it. V'haderech l'shomer mehem, and then I will also explain the way to protect yourself from those things that attack your way of acquiring the thing. Ki ekra boy ani, I will read it myself. V'kol mi sheyimtza boy nachas, and anybody who is going to find pleasure in it, l'man nilmad liyiras Hashem, so we should learn to fear Hashem Elokeinu, and so we should not forget our obligation before Him. Which the chomrius, the physicality of our nature, is actively trying to remove from our hearts. Hakriya v'histaklu, so if we're going to read the Sefer, Yale al zichronenu, it will bring about, like we'll make it to our memory, meaning we'll make it more relevant, more front and center, right? More RAM. V'yireni el hamitzuva aleinu, and it will stir us to do what we are commanded to do. V'Hashem yiyeh b'chislenu, and Hashem should be in our efforts. That means like our efforts here. V'yishmar regleinu melachid, and will guard our feet from stumbling. It is kind of b'koshos mishur overlev, and we should the tefillah of David the Melech should come true. Hareini Hashem derkecha, Hashem, please show us your ways. Ahalech be'amitecha, I will walk in your truth. Yachid levovi liyiras shemecha, unify my heart to fear your name. Okay. So again, this is a very appropriate pasuk. Hareini derkecha, right? Guide me through your ways. Show me your ways. Halech b'amitecha. I will walk in your truth and unify my heart to fear your name. Okay. So let's continue. So now we have, so before we move on, we have a chapter called Beveyer Klal Chayvas Ha'odam Ba'olamai, an explanation of the general responsibility of a person in this world. Right? So just like, again, going back to that pasuk, just like we start with the pasuk about the Yisroel Ma'ashem Elkacha Shol Me'imoch, so you have to have a general picture of what is a person's responsibility in this world. What is the general person's responsibility in this world? Now, I'm assuming, and this is my assumption, it's always been my assumption, that since in the Brisa that we just learned, right, it says Torah Mevia, the first step is Torah, right? We will see that if we go to, fast forward to chapter 2, if we fast forward to chapter 2, we will see that it's talking about Zehirus, right?
Vigilance.
Right, Zehirus, right? Is the Zehirus the first step or the second step? So if you look at the Brisa says Torah Mevia L'Dei. Torah brings to Zehirus.
Start also with the Torah.
What?
Torah.
Right. So Torah can't be the first step because Torah is also the last step and the middle step. Torah is everything, right? So there is, I guess, so the way I always understood is that there is a certain bare minimum of Torah that a person kind of needs to start with in order to get to the first step and then to the second step, right? And so as he's getting advanced in Torah, he's also getting advanced in his Avodah. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, so let's see. Again, since we just learned Derech Hashem, some of this is going to be more, understandable. Okay, so Bever Klal Adam B'Olamai, general responsibility of Adam in his world. Whose world? Whose world?
The person's world? His world.
All right, his world. His world. A person's responsibility in his world. Right? It shows that, anyway, the Mishnah and Sanhedrin says that a person is obligated to say that for me the whole world was created. Because, as far as I'm concerned, my world is created for me, right? Whatever. That's not what I mean. Even if the world is created for everybody, but it's still there's
my world.
My world is what, right? It's my world is my daladams. Is what I'm responsible for. Is the world that Hashem created me for. Okay, so let's see. Right. So the foundation of Chasidus, right? So again, where did Chasidus come from? Right. So Chasidus so generally you could say that proper avoida begins, or not begins, is expressed with the word chasidus, saintliness, right? As opposed to tzidkus, which is just righteousness. So yisoida chasidus, the foundation of chasidus, v'shoyresh ha'avoida hatabima, and the root of perfect service. What is it? She is boirer v'yisamis eitzel ha'odam, and that it has to be clear and be true for every person. What is his obligation in his world? And towards which end should he direct his mabat, his vision, right? His eye, and his aspirations, his trials, B'chol asher hu omel kol yimei chayav, in all that he toils all the days of his life. Right? So what is the foundation of Chasidus and the root of perfect service? That a person must know what is his obligation, and so he knows where to direct his efforts.
Okay, that's fair for...
Right?
For a lot of things.
Right, so basically the idea here is simple. Anything that you pick up, you want to do, should I do A or should I do B? Right? So you're going to ask yourself, well, which one fits with my objectives?
My overall plan.
Right. If A fits with my overall plan, I go with A. If B fits with my overall plan, I go with B. Right? So clearly, I need to have a scale upon which I weigh everything else, right? And the scale is going to be based on what is my goal, what is my objective. I weigh everything against my objective. And that is the foundation of Chasidus, and it's also the root of Avodah HaTamima, right? So the foundation of Chasidus and the root, right? So what's the difference between the foundation and the root?
Foundations where the roots grow from.
So foundation, a root is the thing that the plant grows from, right? So I have the root, the thing grows out of it, and it keeps on growing, right? So out of this root grows the next step. Foundation, the house does not grow from the foundation. The foundation lays the groundwork for the house, and then you can build the house on top of it. So the idea of weighing your actions against your ultimate goals, right, is not only a foundation to everything else that you're going to do, it is also a root to everything else that you're going to do. Not only is it going to be the thing that starts you off on the right path,
but it's also
going to be the thing that's going to grow into the right path, right? So that's why it's Yisoid HaChasidus. It's a foundation of Chasidus, and it's also the root of perfect avodah, right? So it's not only the beginning; it's really the whole process. Okay, fine. V'hinei masha hirunu chachamenu zalahu. Right? What our sages teach us, sheha'odam lenivra ela lisaneg el Hashem, that a person was not created except for to get oinek, to get pleasure from Hashem. Right? V'leihonos miziv shchinosei, and to benefit from the radiance of his shechina, of his presence. Shezehu hatanu gamiti, for that is the true and ultimate pleasure, v'ha'idun agodol, and the greatest enjoyment, mikol ha'idunim sheyicholim lehimotze, from any enjoyment that a person can find. Okay?
Yep, the famous.
So again, this is Derech Hashem. Right? Derech Hashem says that God wanted to bestow the greatest goodness, was the greatest goodness himself. Okay, we learned this, right? So again, so this is, of course, to us it's so partial, but again, this goes back to this idea that this became part of the standard dogma of what we believe in, but it doesn't have to be. Meaning, in a certain sense, you could say it's a very selfish. What's the word? It's a very what's that called? It's a very hedonistic approach to Judaism. Everything that I do is to ask myself, is this going to bring me lehisaneg el Hashem? Is this going to bring me the greatest olam haba possible? Is this going to bring me? So it's all very self-centered. It's all about me. Maybe it shouldn't be all about me. Forget me, right? We say in Pirkei Avos, we say, right, as the Mishnah says, Yossi ben Yoezer, which Yossi is who, but basically, Yossi ben Yoezer says, I think it's Yossi ben Yoezer, that Al Tishamish Asarav al Minas L'Kabel Alma. I'm sorry, it's Antignush Soichoi. Well, Antignush Soichoi says, Al Tishamish Asarav al Minas L'Kabel Pras, right? Do not serve your master in order to receive reward, but rather serve your master either not to receive reward, or even if you don't receive a reward, whatever the case may be, right? So serving the master, that's it. What's this lisaneg al Hashem business? You know what I'm saying?
So I hear you, but the service is the actual sanek.
What?
The enjoyment is in the service, in the process.
But
service is the actual.
Okay, there is service, meaning like I think the modern management theories, right? They tell you the purpose of a company is not to make money. The purpose of a company is to bring whatever benefit to its customers. And as a byproduct of bringing benefit to its customers, it's going to make money. Right? Correct? So now over here, you could have said, the purpose of your avodah is to serve Hashem. As a byproduct, you'll get reward and you'll get lisaneg al Hashem. But that's not what the Maharal is saying. According to the Maharal,
it's one and the same.
The lisaneg al Hashem is the avodah, right? The avodah is lisaneg al Hashem, meaning it's almost a chayvasa, because we're discussing right now what is my obligation in the world. Now, of course, he's going to tell me that I can only achieve this lisaneg al Hashem in olam haba, but in a certain sense, there's a chayvasa, there's an obligation that comes, that he's talking about. Okay, let's keep going.
But I think he's trying to tell us that if there's if the sanek isn't present, then the avodah is not the avodah. It's one and the same. Like the avodah is implies that
yeah. Okay, good. And the place for this enjoyment is really in the world to come. Because it's created with the right environment and the atmosphere for this purpose. But the way to reach this desired goal is through this world. This is what our sages say in Pirkei Avos. Ha'olam hazeh do'mi leprosdor b'fnei ha'olam haba. Right, and this world is just in предбанник.
Right, corridor.
Corridor, right? It's a corridor to the world to come. Okay, the world is a corridor to the world to come. The world is a corridor to the world to come. Good. And what are the intermediaries that get you to this goal? They are the mitzvahs that Hashem commanded us to do. And the place to do these mitzvahs is only in this world. Therefore, a person is placed into this world in the beginning, that in order through these various intermediaries, that happen and appear before him, here in this world, he is able to reach to the place that was prepared for him. Right? So in the Olam Haba, there is a place that's prepared for you, and your job is in this world to fit your place, so to speak, to fit your place. Good. Lirvei Shom Batuv, they should enjoy there in the goodness. Asher Kona Loi Al Yidayim Tzayim Ha'ila, which he acquired through these intermediaries. Today is to do them, and tomorrow is to receive their reward. Good? So far, so good. Okay, let's keep going. And now he's telling you, wait, there's a new layer, right? Now I'm going to build you a second floor on these ideas that I just told you. When you further contemplate on this matter, you will see that true perfection, that the true perfection is only through connection to Hashem. Right? And for me, closeness to Hashem is good. That's what's good. Meaning, what I consider good is closeness to Hashem. Now also says, Hashem, one thing I ask from Hashem, Avakesh, this I will seek, that should reside in the house of Hashem all the days of my life. Right? Because that is the only good. What is the only good? Closeness to Hashem. Right? Closeness to Hashem is the only good. Because and anything besides that, that people consider good. Right? I consider good coffee. So good. That's nothing. It's nothing, and it's just pure nothing. When a person earns this goodness, he first needs to toil, and then he has to, with his effort, he has to acquire it. Right? So every person has to attach himself to God through these actions that bring you closer to Hashem. The mitzvahs, that's what we're talking about, a mitzvah. So mitzvah is, from Chassidim say, from the word tzavsa, tongues, that they bring you closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That is the mitzvah. The mitzvah is to get that tainug of Hashem from the mitzvah.
So that's the method of attaining the side, no?
The what?
The method of attaining that enjoyment
is the mitzvahs.
Right, and the pure avodah.
Is the mitzvahs, but with already understanding that that this is really what's important in life. Everything else is just a mirage. Everything else is just a mirage. Okay. So now, what's my question? My question is, what does it mean when he says? Why did he introduce this paragraph? Because when you further look into this matter, you will see.
He's digging deeper.
In what sense? What makes this line deeper? How is this paragraph, connected to the previous paragraph? The previous paragraph talked about the pleasure of the next world, right? And me having the need to do certain actions in order to earn those things. Right? So the focus here is on the pleasure, on Tainug Hashem. The focus is on the pleasure. Over here, the focus is on what?
On mitzvahs.
The mitzvah is the tool, but what are you accomplishing with that tool?
Closeness to Hashem.
No, sorry, yes, but there is. But what allows you to accomplish the closeness to Hashem? In the new paragraph, the dover tira, you will see what? What are you going to see? The next word, ki hashleimus. So how do you get closeness to Hashem? Perfection. Perfection.
Right. And your
perfection.
Okay.
Right. True perfection is closeness to Hashem. True perfection is closeness to Hashem. So this paragraph says, what's closeness to Hashem? True perfection.
Right. Here, okay.
So the mitzvahs, so in the previous paragraph, it wasn't clear. It was just telling you there's point A and there's point B, and to get from point A to point B, you need to do mitzvahs. The mitzvahs are the bridge to get you from point A to point B. Right? Over here he's saying more than that. He's saying the mitzvahs will achieve perfection, and perfection is the thing that's going to get you from point A to point B. Okay?
Okay.
Fine. V'hinesh soma kodesh baruch hu lo'odom b'mokam shirabim boi hamerchikim oisim imenu yisbarach. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu put you in a place where there are many things that will pull you away from Hashem. What are the things that are pulling you away from Hashem? That is the physical desires. Hashem yimoshich acharehen, because if a person is pulled after them, he's slowly being distanced from the true good. So really what comes out, that a person is truly placed in a serious, strong battle, strong war. For all aspects of the world, whether for good or whether for not good. There really are challenges, tests for a person. So all aspects of life are challenges for a person. So from poverty from one aspect, right, is a challenge. But also riches from another perspective is also a challenge. Right? Listed, right? Like the Shlomo Melech says, "Pen es ba v'chichashti," lest I will be satiated and I will deny, meaning deny Hashem. Ve'amarti mi Hashem, and I will say, who is Hashem? Upen yivoresh, and lest I become poor, ve'ganavti, and then I will steal. Right? So every status of life of mankind has its own set of tests. Richness has its own set of tests. Poverty has its own set of tests. V'im iyal ben chayil, if he's going to be a ben chayil, v'yinatzach hamilchoma mikol tzaddim, and he will win this war from all aspects. Right? He will actually turn into a perfected man. He will merit to connect, to attach himself to his Creator. He will leave this prosder. He will leave this prosder. And he will enter the traklin, the main hall, layer bar chaim, in order to bask in Hashem's light. And in a proportion to as much as he can kovash, he subjugates his yetzer. So, the more a person is kovash his yitzray, and he distances himself from the things that are distancing him from Hashem, so they will also reach him. And he will be happy in them, in him.
Depending on how much and what his win is in this battle, with what? Not observing?
Excuse me 1 second.
No, the war is the previous chapter.
Right, over here he's saying that if a person wants to achieve this, he wants to purify his avodah, correct?
Yeah.
He wants to purify his avodah. So the way to purify your avodah is to fight the battle on every side. Right? You fight the battle on every side, then you will. I'm not sure if I said this right. Right? So I want to take these glasses. That's my goal. I want to have these glasses. Right? I want to have these glasses. So I just reached out to touch them. But every time I reach out, something is pulling my hand. Something is pulling my hand backwards. Right? So what am I supposed to do if I want to achieve those glasses?
Loosen this grip.
Right?
Or get out of
it. Right, exactly. So I got to loosen the grip. Right? And I got to make sure that it doesn't grip again. Okay? And then once I loosen the grip and I see that it's not gripping again, then I can
do what you got to
do what I do. So that's what he's saying here also. He's saying within proportion to it that he subjugates his yetzer, in his taiva, when he's removed from the things that are distancing him, from this good, when he's going to make an effort to attach to it, so too he will accomplish this, and he will rejoice in it. Right? So over here what it's saying is that it's proportional. Right? Meaning, I would have said, okay, you're wearing tefillin, right? You're wearing tefillin. That's your reward. For wearing tefillin, you get a reward. For saying Shema, you get a reward. Correct? So, there is something called subjugating your taiva, right? But where do I place subjugating my taiva? In Loisa say, listen, this woman is forbidden. Subjugate your taiva. Don't do this aveira. Correct? But there's no mitzvah. I didn't do anything. I just avoided trouble.
Don't eat this.
Right. I just avoided trouble. But he's saying not like that. He's saying there is a positive element. Right? Why? Because the thing, just like he said before, what's preventing me from acquiring this perfection? My taivas, right? My taivas, right? So since the goal is perfection, right? So my resistance to my taiva is not just, hey, I'm avoiding trouble. There's a positive development that's taking place. There's something that's building in me because I have self-control, because I controlled myself over here, a certain element of perfection strengthened inside of me, and therefore I took a step closer to God, even in the things that are negative.
Okay.
Right? So that's I think that's an interesting point here. Right? Because these are the things that are holding me back from the toiv, from the ultimate good. Okay. Now let's keep going. I'm not sure how we're going to get this over here. It's pretty late. And if you further go deeper into the matter, right? So now he's telling us a third layer in this system, right? So first he gave us the simple layer. Then he said what? Then he said, where did I lose it? And then you further look into this, you will see. And if you go dig deeper into this, you will see that the world is created for the service of man. Right? So what just happened? What's this? What's he saying over here? That you go deeper into it, right? So first he started, listen, mitzvahs keep you closer to God. So then he started, no, mitzvahs give you perfection. Now he's saying the world is here to serve you. Right? The world is here to serve you.
Yes, okay.
Right? Let's just keep reading. What does it mean? The world is here to serve you. Everything stands in perfect balance. If a person follows the world, which means that he's distancing himself from his creator, right? Because he goes after the physical, right, of the world. He himself is damaged. And he damages the world together with him. And if he has self-control, and he attaches himself to his creator, and he utilizes the world, only in as much as the world helps him to achieve the service of Hashem. He is raised, right? He becomes bigger, the person, and the world is also raised with him. Right, so when you say that the world is a shamish to me, right? So then everything I do for the world is defined by my actions. If I'm doing good things, so the world is also doing good things. If I'm doing bad things, then the world is also doing bad things.
Right, just look at the mirror we spoke about at some point. Look, it's a reflection.
The what? Sorry?
Just like I'm doing good, the good will come out. I think there was a parallel and similar concept. Maybe in Derek Hashem or maybe in Nefesh HaChaim. Then we plug it in some sort of a mirror. No? Okay.
But okay, so right, so basically, the previous level that he was talking about is self-perfection. Right, my job in this world is to become perfect, because perfection means closeness to God. Right. This one is saying something else. This one is saying I need to raise the world. The world is here for me, and I need to uplift the world, or I can bring down the world. Because the great elevation comes to the creations, kulam, all of them, when they become servants of the perfect man, which is who is sanctified with the sanctity of Hashem. This is what our sages said. From the light that Hakadosh Baruch Hu hid for tzaddikim, when he saw this light, that he hid for tzaddikim, Somach, he rejoiced. Shenemar or tzaddikim yismach. The light of tzaddikim makes him happy. What just happened?
We went off on the tangent.
Well, he says no. He says this is what our sages are saying. What I just told you, right? What I just told you now, that when the person uses the world for good, he becomes sanctified. Right? He sanctifies himself and the world. Right? This is expressed with the light that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hid for the tzaddikim. What shaykhs? So I think the answer is that the light of the righteous rejoices. So the pasuk I think it's the focus is on the pasuk. The pasuk says, "The light of the righteous rejoices." So who's rejoicing? Oyer tzadikim yismach. The light of the righteous is rejoicing, right? So it's the light that's rejoicing. Not just even though the Gemara says that Hashem is rejoicing, but Hashem is rejoicing because the light is rejoicing. Why is the light rejoicing? Because it's gonzo, it's put away, it's not available now. But since it's put away for tzaddikim, so therefore it rejoices because it is going to serve the tzaddikim, right? So just like I told you that the world is in service of tzaddikim. Right, so the light is happy because it's in the service of tzaddikim. Okay. Ubeinyan, just read a few more lines. Ubeinyan avnei amotam, bless you. And also regards to the stones of the place Shlokach Yaakov that Yaakov took v'somer Joseph and placed under his head. Omru said in the Gemara, Chul Omer b'Yitzchak melamed. This teaches us that they all gathered into one place. And each stone was fighting and saying, on me, the tzaddik should put down his head. Right? So again, this is the idea that the world is uplifted by being utilized in Avodas Hashem. Look at the whole creation of Hashem. When Hashem created the first man, he took and showed him every tree of the Gan Eden. Look at my actions, my creations. How beautiful and praiseworthy are they. And everything that I created for you. Keep in mind that you should not damage and destroy my world. Okay. All right. So Klal Shel Dover. We have to leave that until next time. Okay. So we saw somehow these three levels, which we're gonna need to just put it all together again. Last time, but we have three levels. We have levels of mitzvahs, let's call them, level of perfection, and then level of world utilization. Right? Why does he need all these three levels? I mean, what's that got to do with what he's trying to say? We'll have to explain on a fresher head next time. Okay.